Hello, hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I'm your host, John Harris, and today on the Rock Metal Podcast, we have Rage in My Eyes. They have a new EP called Spirals, which is released on October 15th. Right now, I'm being joined by Francis to share more information about why there's a rage in his eyes, and then came the storm, but there was a spark of hope. So,
hey, that's beautiful. Thanks, man. I love that.
Well, you gave me all the ammunition. I was just firing off. So, Francis, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, John. I appreciate the invite. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Well, I mean, you guys wrote some quality music, and that makes my life easier.
Great. I'm happy you think that way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Around more like-minded people. So we'll get everybody listening in right now to listen to your guys' record. So in the show notes for today, wherever you're listening, Spotify, Apple Music, you're on YouTube, you can see how incredibly good looking we are. It's almost unfair, actually, how good looking we are.
Yeah.
There's And Then Came the Storm music video link you can click on, as well as rageinmyeyes.com that you can click on and stay in touch.
Perfect.
With the band.
Yeah.
So my first question is Spirals EP. Take us through this compilation or this body of work. What did you guys set out to create?
Well, we put out our first full-length album in 2019, and obviously it was time to put out some new stuff, but we had this. Well, not only us, but everybody pretty much in the world was having this trouble with, gathering. So we couldn't get together in a practice room to rehearse or even to arrange new songs. So we had to do things differently this time. It was a little bit, I wouldn't say weird, but it was definitely for sure different because, since then we always got together in a room and developed and worked on the songs. But this time we did things separately. So we have our guitar player Magnus. He's like the main songwriter, right? So the songs that we're going to be talking about today, both of them were written by him. And then he was just sending us, just pretty much exchanging files online, and everybody worked on their parts separately. So I have an electronic drum set back in my place, so I was just recording all my drum parts for the demos. For the demos. Mm-hmm. And then once we thought that everything was good to go, then obviously, to record drums, we need to go into a recording studio. So we had some people there, but always trying to be careful with, because of COVID and all, having masks on and all that stuff. But we managed through, man. We managed through. This was actually quite a quick process, I would say, because we started, working on songs around probably February this year, and then in May I was at the studio, tracking drums, and then we had everything finalized by July, right? So yeah, it was a quick and interesting process.
Would you do it again this way if the next time you guys are working on stuff, the world's open, everything's back to normal? Is there something of this process that you're going to take away?
Well, actually, I think that, we had to adjust to what was going on, obviously, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of things that we had to adjust, we're going to end up keeping, and I don't mean that just within the band. I mean, overall, right? Everybody's a lot more used to, home office and stuff like that, so probably going to keep that, some of that, especially because I am now in Brazil. The band is from Brazil. I've been living in Los Angeles for the past, we were just talking about this. So I moved back to Brazil in 2020. So once I move back to LA, we're going to have to, obviously keep working this way, working online and sharing files and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So many interesting and unique questions. Moving back to LA, what is it about LA that inspires you?
So, I've never been to LA before. So this was my first time in LA, and me and my wife, we were looking for a life change, trying to, because we've been living down here in Brazil for pretty much all our lives. So pretty sure there's something different out there, right? Something more interesting maybe. And obviously LA has a very strong music scene. You know, like most of like, not most, but a lot of like the best musicians in the world are over there. So that's what's pretty much what attracted me to go to LA and, you know, and see what was going on over there. It was, again, it was like quite an adventure, man. Quite an adventure, because I mean, you know, down here, people know you, you know, people know your work and all that. But once you move to a different country, to a different city, it's like you got to start from scratch. Nobody knows you, you know. You got to prove your value. You got to just go out there and perform and play and get to, you know, get people to know you and all that. So yeah, man, it was a lot of hard work during those 3 years for sure.
I bet.
A lot of cool stuff. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff happened, especially, you know, for my career. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I had some pretty nice auditions. You know, I'm the drummer, so I was away from my band. We were still obviously working together, but I had some opportunities down there, up there in LA, like auditioning for bands like Machinehead. You know them, right?
Yeah, I think I've had him on the show. I've chatted a couple of times.
Oh, really? Awesome.
I believe
Yeah.
so.
So their drummer left in 2018, and then I ended up auditioning for them. Unfortunately, I didn't get the gig, but it was still quite an experience, and other opportunities that I had that were pretty awesome.
Yeah.
As a drummer.
Or I invited them on. We were working it out, and it fell through. I know there are so many interviews that I've tried to work out, and with the pandemic, especially early on in the pandemic, it was so hard to nail people down because they were stuck at an airport finding out that they didn't need to be at that airport anymore because their tour was canceled. And then there goes their interview slot that they were going to have at soundcheck, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So,
yeah.
But I'm looking up pictures of Porto Alegre, and maybe I'm wrong, and you'll probably tell me I'm wrong, but I'm seeing some similarities between this and LA. Like on the coast, you got the water, you even have the sign, like, and they have Hollywood, and you guys have Porto Alegre in the mountains there.
Do we? I'm not sure about that.
Oh, am I looking at the wrong sign then? But I do see that it looks a little more European than LA for sure.
Oh yeah, I think so too. Especially because of immigration, we had like this gigantic German, Italian, Polish immigration down here in the south of Brazil. So we're talking like 1800s and early 1900s. So for sure, yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at like an iron dinosaur or an iron horse or something next to this building that it looks Aztec to me, but I know that's not right because there wouldn't be Aztecs down there. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, there's a rage in your eyes again. Cool. So how did you get into that scene? So you land in LA, not knowing anybody. And, you know, I guess for somebody who's never been to LA, anybody listening in, it kind of sounds like, oh, you get there and there's recording studios everywhere. But LA is freaking huge.
Yes, you're right. It's a gigantic.
Yeah,
for sure.
So to land, you know, at LAX and then next week be auditioning for Machinehead, can you take me through that?
Well, it wasn't the next week,
well,
right?
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we moved to LA in June 2017, and then a week after, you were saying a week after that. So the week after that, I was recording rageinmyeyes' first album. Okay. So I forgot to mention that, which is pretty important. So the album I Sell, which has this cover right here, this clowny looking person. I recorded the album in Los Angeles with a Brazilian producer. He's super, super great, you know, at what he does. So that was one of the reasons why, you know, tried LA. And also I attended the Musicians Institute, which is a music school, right?
Yeah, Hollywood, right? North Hollywood?
Hollywood, yeah. You got it. Yeah, Hollywood. Yeah, and then, you know, I think it was like around about 2 years later when I auditioned for Machinehead.
Okay, so that makes
like
sense.
a year and 9 months after that.
Yeah, you gotta walk in groups when you're at the school so you don't get raped.
Well, in Hollywood.
In Hollywood.
I mean, people say that it's dangerous and all, but being from Brazil, we're used to that. We're super careful and precautious. So yeah, I didn't feel threatened at all.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Now, one of the things I'm watching right now is And Then Came the Storm music video. So take us through this event. It looks like you guys were able to rent some kind of an outdoor space.
Yes, that's correct. So that's up in the mountain area here in our home state, which is the southern state of Brazil, in a town called let me see. I'm going to first say it in Portuguese. The town is called Gramado. You guys would probably pronounce like Gramado or something like that.
Obrigado.
And it's a beautiful town. We're talking about German immigration, so it's like a German town. It's up in the mountains. It's a super like a touristic town as well. And so I was just walking around there with my wife, and then we came across this, like this structure, which is obviously for like some sort of shows or something. And it's like in the middle of the woods. And just looking at that place, I was like, man, this is an insane place because it's kind of like abandoned. It's been abandoned for like 10 years now.
Oh.
That structure. So no events are happening over there for like the past 10 years. And we thought it would be like the perfect spot for this video because the song And Then Came the Storm, it's pretty much like a goodbye letter. Okay, the lyrics. It has beautiful melodies, but at the same time it's heavy, and fast. So it's kind of like aggressive and beautiful at the same time. And that place where we made the video is pretty much the same. It's abandoned, so it's a little bit like, you can think of it like aggressive, or I don't know. I don't even know the word. But at the same time, like around it, you have all those trees and like a forest. So it seemed to be like the perfect spot for this track, to make a video for this track.
Mm-hmm. You guys are dressed up. It doesn't look cold, but I'm guessing it was a cold or chilly day.
Yeah, you can say that. But we were lucky enough to have a sunny day, so it got a little hot in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. How did you arrange that? Because if it's abandoned, you can just show up, or does you need to talk to somebody? Like, who would you talk to if it's abandoned?
Yeah, well, we had to, because since it belongs to like the city hall.
Oh, okay.
We had to ask like for authorization and stuff like that. Yeah, I would love to thank my friend Lucas Martins, because he was the guy like responsible for setting that up for us. Okay. Since he's local to the town, he knows people from the city hall and all that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I've got the album of the shirt that you're wearing, the clowny shirt.
Okay.
Was anyway very well received. So when you guys were working on an EP, were you looking to follow in the footsteps of that album?
I'm not sure if we were thinking about that, because I think the songs are different. The songs are different. I think that probably in the ICEL album, the songs might be a little bit more modern, like a more modern power metal proggy kind of stuff, kind of music. But I'm this is the way that I see. I think that Spiral is a little bit more, for instance, this song And Then Came the Storm is a little bit more like traditional power metal. Mm-hmm. Okay, then we have another song which is like a folk metal song, which is Spark of Hope, the one that we're probably going to talk about later. Mm-hmm. So we do have the accordion again on one track, which is a Spark of Hope. In the ICEL album, we had the accordion on 3 tracks. So but I still think that they're like different pieces of work. I don't think like a Spiral would be like a continuation of ICEL. I think it's like separate things.
Okay, cool. Now you mentioned an accordion. Who plays the accordion?
So we have this amazing musician guy. His name is Matheus Kleber. Okay, so he's like an accordion player, and he's like insanely great. So he's been recording with us, and there's a song from the ICEL album called Death Sleepers. So he's on that video as well. And another song called Hole in the Shell, which is the official music video, has footage from the show that we did with Iron Maiden. So he was with us on that one, on that show too. Mm-hmm. So he recorded on Spiral, and he recorded on ICEL. And unfortunately, on the Spark of Hope video, he wasn't available. So, he's not a part of the video. That is not out yet. But we had another friend of ours called Eduardo Nicali playing the accordion for us in the music video for Spark of Hope. And we're very, very thankful to Mateus and Eduardo, both of them amazing musicians and super awesome people.
Okay. Spark of Hope. What's that song about?
So it's like a tragic love story, I think. It's about like people who, like, in the 1800s fought like in a battle. Okay, so they ended up getting killed during the battle. Okay, so, and then they were like, at some point they're dead and they don't know that they're dead. So like their spirits or something, they're still around, but they don't know that they're dead. So that's pretty much what it's about. I don't know if you heard the lyrics. A new sun is shining, some stuff like that. So it's kind of like about rebirth and reincarnation, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what led to the accordion? Was it musically it felt like it needed the accordion? Was it lyrically that it felt like it needed the accordion?
Musically, for sure. This song specifically, Spark of Hope, it has like its roots totally connected, I would say, with traditional music from the south of Brazil. Okay, so like south of Brazil and Uruguay and Argentina, so all that part. Even though my home state is part of Brazil, the culture is closer to the culture of Uruguay and Argentina, music-wise and even culture-wise. So the song definitely felt that it needed the accordion, as other songs that we have like in the previous album as well. So like I mentioned Magnus, who is like the main songwriter. His grandfather is dead. I mean, he passed away like in the 80s, but he was one of like the most important artists, musicians, from this part of Brazil. And he used to play like traditional, like folk music from the south over here. So Magnus, he grew up listening to that kind of music, and connected with that kind of music. He ended up being a metal guy, but somehow he incorporated all that with his songwriting. So it's something that comes natural to him, His grandfather is called Teixeirinha. If you want, I can write it in the chat here.
Okay, please do.
If you want to look him up.
Okay.
This guy has like statues all over the place. So it's very important artist.
Okay. Let's see if it copied over. Yep, it did. Yay. Okay, this guy looks official.
Yeah, like with his guitar up high and all that.
Yeah. All those old school record
exactly.
Things, yeah.
Yeah. Very old school for sure. Yeah.
And pose and click. And there we go. Okay. Francis, we've chatted about auditioning for Machinehead. We chatted about living in LA. We chatted about Hollywood. We chatted about some new adaptations to the writing and recording process. Somewhat pandemic related also, because there's just going to be some distance with you being in LA. And we also chatted about the EP Spirals. We chatted about And Then Came the Storm, which is a music video available. So everybody listening in, wherever you're listening in or watching in today's show notes, there's a YouTube link to the music video for And Then Came the Storm. Also a link to the band's website, rageinmyeyes.com. The EP Spirals, out as of October 15th, wherever it is that you consume music. So if you're on Spotify, just do it. If you're on Apple Music, just do it. So wherever it is that you... just do it. Wherever it is that you consume music, go ahead and do that, and you'll be able to hear that accordion and Spark of Hope. You'll be able to hear everything going on, especially And Then Came the Storm, which we just chatted about. So Francis, is there anything I missed? I didn't include a record label. Do you guys have a record label sending this guy out?
We're totally independent.
Okay.
It's completely independent, yeah.
Okay.
I do want to add one thing, because the music video for Spark of Hope is not out yet, but it will be by the end of the month, by the end of October on YouTube as well. And you were saying about just do it. Yeah, man, come on, man. I mean, we're putting out music for free for people, right? So you don't have to pay for it anymore. All you have to do is just hit play. Just hit play and give us a like, and subscribe and all that stuff. Yeah. So we're counting on you guys, not only for Rage in My Eyes, but for every band out there. I mean, there's a lot of bands doing great stuff. There's more to than just Metallica and Iron Maiden and Bon Jovi and all those gigantic bands. We have a lot of amazing bands, smaller bands doing great stuff. So we would appreciate it, if people gave those smaller bands more value. Because, man, I got to tell you, man, we've been doing this for a long time, and we know what we're doing. So we believe that we're doing great stuff.
That's right, baby. That's right. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast today.
Well, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate you, you giving us this time to promote our stuff. Great, and your show is awesome, and I'm, very, very flattered to be here, man, for sure.
Thank you.